Johan,
It's like
are you writing the notes?
yeah, yes, ma'am.
Then what is the problem in stating the law?
I was searching for the notes. I write in my book, so it's a little bit messed up.
Actually, you should be looking through what you are writing every day and come prepared for the next day, so that even without the notebooks, you should be able to give the important point. May not be all the point, but at least few points you should be able to recollect and explain. It's
Ma'am,
applicable to all. It's not like only him, it's applicable to everyone. Yes, Yusuf.
ma'am, I have a doubt.
Yes.
Ma'am, in Charles' law, there was this one graph, right, which shows the volume versus the temperature.
Mm.
In that, you had told that each line is in the graph is called an isobar.
Mm.
So this isobar is different from that isotope isobars, right?
Yeah, that is different.
Oh, okay.
That was like same mass number, different atomic number, right? That is isobar. That is in terms of atomic number and mass number. This is like bar mean because we because bar is a like pressure unit. Like isobar mean a unit of pressure, like same pressure. That's what they meant. In Charles' law, we are keeping the pressure as constant and finding a relation between volume and temperature. So a graph which is plotted on constant pressure, that is what that each line graph is, that is known as isobars. It's
Okay,
nothing to
ma'am.
do with isobars, what we know as same mass number, different atomic number. That is entirely different.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Anyway, we were discussing about Charles' law. It states that at constant pressure, when we are keeping the amount of gas as constant and also pressure as constant, then the temperature or the volume is directly proportional to temperature. If you can mute the mic, please, if you're not using. Yeah, thank you. Okay, volume is directly proportional to temperature, or you can see V by T is a constant. V by T is a constant. That is what the main statement of Charles' law. V by T is a constant, and for the numerical purpose, you can have write something like this: V1 by T1 is equal to V2 by T2. Just like we wrote P1 V1 is equal to P2 V2 for the Boyle's law. Similarly, you can have V1 by T1 is equal to V2 by T2, or V1 T2 is equal to V2 T1. In a different way, it is possible, but the basic thing is that V by T is a constant. That is what as per Charles' law. And then we discussed about absolute temperature. Steve, what is an absolute temperature? How it is differs? Or what is a Kelvin temperature?
Normal temperature is like the normal temperature we calculate temperature in is Celsius degrees, but the difference is 0 degrees Celsius. We know that temperature heat is basically the movement of particles. So at 0 degrees Celsius, we notice that even at 0 degrees Celsius, these particles there's movement in particles. But we need something in a way that 0 means no movement. So then there is
Or
Kelvin.
zero energy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
zero energy.
correct.
So 0 Kelvin means there's no movement. Then 0 Kelvin is equal to negative 273.15 Celsius degrees.
Okay, correct. That means absolute temperature is a system where zero means that a particular zero indicates zero, absolute zero temperature. That is what absolute temperature scale or thermodynamic temperature scale. Kelvin scale is one of such scale. Right? Don't think that Kelvin is the only thing. There are some more. You will find more like when you search about it. But Kelvin scale is a commonly used absolute temperature scaling system. So we will be basically dealing with degrees Celsius. That's a very common thing which we use. But for some numericals, you have to convert into Kelvin scale. and you can use this formula. Temperature in Kelvin, that is TK stands for temperature in Kelvin, is equal to temperature in degrees Celsius plus 273.15.
Ma'am, I have a question.
Yes. Yeah, please.
Ma'am, so then why do we like cool down and apply pressure when we are converting like matter into gas? It is advisable to do heating, right? Because when you're
See,
heating things, then more
state
temperature
change
will
is
get
different
volume,
from no.
right?
State change is different from, we are only talking about gas law, mean we are only talking about gases and only the changes which is happening to gaseous state. We are not talking about state changes. That is different.
Okay. So
It's
this
only
kind of
about pure.
law doesn't apply to state change?
No, it does not. It is only for the gas. It's only applicable to the gases. That's why they're known as gas laws. The
Okay.
laws which is applicable to the gaseous state. And I think we discussed all these things, right? The third law which we are discussing in gas laws is Gay-Lussac's law. What is Gay-Lussac's law? The main definition is that at constant volume, here the volume is kept constant. See, basically, if you're taking any gas substance, gaseous substance or substance in gaseous state, the important variables for a gas will be pressure, because pressure is an important factor affecting the gas. Then you have volume, then you have temperature, and then you have amount. Amount means number of substance, number of molecules in that. So among all these things, in the first law, Boyle's law, what we have done, we kept the temperature as constant. Then you found out a relation, temperature and N as a constant. Then you derived a relation between pressure and volume. Pressure is inversely proportional to volume. And in Charles' law, what was kept constant? In
Ma'am, the
Charles' pressure was kept constant, and we derived an equation. Pressure and amount of gas both were kept constant, and so we derived a relation between volume and temperature, which is directly proportional. In Gay-Lussac's law, the next variable, that is the volume, is kept constant. If you're keeping the volume of a gas, that is as a constant, then the pressure, that means the fixed amount, that is also fixed. That means for a constant volume, for a fixed amount of gas, the pressure is directly proportional to the temperature. So if you're keeping the volume as a constant for a fixed amount of gas, then pressure is directly proportional to constant, or you can say P by T is a constant. So Gay-Lussac's law is a study which is showing a relation between pressure and temperature of a gas at constant volume. It's like only thing is that one or two things is kept a constant, and you're finding a relation between the two different variables or parameters for gaseous substance. And or you can easily write it as P1 by T1 is equal to P2 by T2. In all these laws, what is statement and its mathematical representation is important. Only that much is enough, because next is like based on numericals, based on all these equations. No need to learn anything extra, the statement plus mathematical representation. So I'll just repeat, Gay-Lussac's law is deriving or defining the relation between pressure and temperature of a gas at constant volume for a fixed amount, which is says that pressure is directly proportional to temperature and P by T is a constant. Am I clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. The next law, the fourth one and the last one in the series, is Avogadro's law. And this we already discussed in first chapter, Avogadro's law. It is basically related to the volume and number of moles. That means that equal volume of all the gases under same condition. We call it as STP, right? I think you still remember the term STP.
Standard temperature and pressure.
Yeah, that means if you maintain a similar, that means standardized temperature and pressure condition. That means if you're keeping them as constant, standard temperature pressure mean constant temperature and constant pressure. If you're bringing any gas to that particular temperature and pressure, then what will happen? Their volume will be same. Or if you take number of moles equal, say example, 1 mole of the other definition which we defined Avogadro's law in the first chapter, that 1 mole of all the gas, 1 mole of any gas kept under STP will have how much volume? What was the volume in STP?
22.4 liter.
22.4 liters. Very good. Will have 22.4 liters. Will have 22.4. Will have a volume. Will have a volume of 22.4 liters. That means the volume is directly proportional to the number of moles. That is the final and the last relation between volume and number of moles. So as I said, there are 4 parameters or variable basically defining the properties of gas: temperature, pressure, volume, and number of moles. And each of the law, we said that they were keeping 2 of the variables constant and other defining the relation between other 2 variables. So Boyle's law kept the temperature as constant, and in Charles' law, pressure was kept constant, and in Gay-Lussac's law, volume was kept constant. In Avogadro's law, they are maintaining the standard temperature and pressure. Temperature and pressure is kept constant, and finding a relation between volume and number of moles. And as per this definition, under standard condition or similar conditions of temperature and pressure, volume contains equal volume of all the gas contains equal number of moles, or 1 mole of any gas kept under STP condition will have a volume of 22.4 liters. Or generalized way, this is more specific definition, and in generalized way you can say V is proportional to N, or V by N is a constant. So these 4 laws are coming under gas law, defining the relation between different variables, keeping the 2 of the variable constant, and you're finding the relation between the other 2. In all the laws, you can see that. Am I clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so now these 4 laws were introduced, and all these 4 laws were describing the relation between the different variables of the gas: pressure and volume, temperature and volume, pressure and temperature, volume and number of moles. So ideal gas equation, that means which shows the entire property, combined effect of everything. That is what ideal gas equation means. We discussed Boyle's law, we discussed Charles' law, Avogadro's law, and everything. Finally, ideal gas equation was derived from all these laws, and that ideal gas equation is known as PV is equal to nRT. Pressure into volume is equal to nRT. That means this is an equation which will be satisfied by gaseous molecule, and which is a summary of all these laws. Derived a generalized gas equation from all the gases law, and this is a very important equation. PV is equal to nRT, where P is the pressure, V is the volume, N is number of moles, and R is a new term for you, right? Because that is the only thing which we are not aware. Pressure is volume, P is pressure, V is volume, N is number of moles, and T is temperature. And R is, because you can see in all this one, it was a proportionality sign. And when proportionality sign is removed with an equal sign, we need to have a constant. So R is actually a gas constant. A constant which has been introduced after the removal of a proportionality sign in the final equation. And this R is known as universal gas constant because it's a fixed value for all the gases. It won't change for different, for oxygen, for nitrogen. If you're talking about carbon dioxide, if you're talking about sulfur dioxide, whatever, it's a fixed value. That is why this gas constant is also known as universal gas constant because its value is fixed for all the gases. So ideal gas equation means PV is equal to nRT, where R is a gas equation, gas constant. As the value of R is constant for all the temperature, same for all the gases at all the condition. So we call it as universal gas constant. So R is the gas constant, which is also known as universal gas constant because it's same for all the gases. And as I said, if you're using different units to specify pressure, temperature, volume, etc., you can have different values for R. But that is, you can see, this is a commonly used R is equal to 8.314 joules per Kelvin per mole. And if you're using a different units to specify, mention R, then the another important is R is equal to 0.082 liter atmosphere per Kelvin per mole. So there are many. If you check in website, you will find, I think, 10 or 11 values for R at different units. But for you, these 2-3 will be enough. Mostly you will be using 8.314 because most of our calculations using SI unit joules per Kelvin per mole. But in some cases, you will be using 0.082 liter atmosphere per Kelvin per mole. So these two values of R is enough. So it's based on R value depends on what is the unit of pressure, volume, temperature that you're using. Is that clear? Am I clear in this?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so ideal gas equation is derived from all these laws, and that final equation is known as PV is equal to nRT. That is the ideal gas equation, where R is the gas constant or universal gas constant, and its value is 8.314 in joules per Kelvin per mole or 0.082 in liter atmosphere per Kelvin per mole. The another important equation, see, as I said, I have to finish all the laws and equation, then we'll start the numerical from next class. The another important equation which you maybe find helpful in solving the numerical is that, again, the combined gas law. From all the laws, another way of combining the different, basically pressure, volume, and temperature, connecting pressure and volume and temperature is in this way. P1 V1 by T1 is equal to P2 V2 by T2. See, this is again from PV is equal to nRT. It's like everything is same. There's a different way of showing it. That's the only difference. PV is equal to nRT, right? And for a fixed amount of a gas, N will be constant and R is again a constant for all the gases. So N and R are constant. So you can equate the other two things. So finally, you can write the equation like this. See, everything is related to all the laws. That is the ideal gas equation. PV is equal to nRT. But N for a fixed amount of gas, and R is a universal gas constant. So N and R will become constant. That means PV by T is a constant for a fixed amount of substance. So from that concept, you can derive or you can use it as P1 V1. P1 V1 by T1 is equal to P2 V2 by T2. A different C. Once you know the equation, you can directly use it. Is for your what you can say, an easy way to use these equations for numericals. So highlight all these equations in your notebook so that it will be easy for you to memorize and use.
Ma'am, those graphs that you showed before, they are important, ma'am.
Which one?
Ma'am, I think for Charles' law and Boyle's law.
Yeah, Charles' law. Yeah, see, the problem is that these kind of question may come, especially in competitive exams and all. For example, they will be given 4 different graphs, and you have to find which one is showing or a mathematical, graphical representation of Charles' law. So you should know the relation. Volume and temperature. Anything which is directly proportional will have a straight line from the origin, right? That is the relation. So Charles' law means if you are plotting a volume to temperature graph, the shape of the graph will be a straight line going through origin or touching through origin. Anything, any parameters which is in directly proportional, you will get a straight line. So that kind of basic idea you should know.
Okay, ma'am. Ma'am, and in this graph, should we start drawing the lines from a little ahead of minus 300, or can we draw it from minus 300?
See, this was shown with degree Celsius, right? If you're taking a Kelvin scale, it will be from 0, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And so that, see, -2, that's why they have specified it as 273. But when you're taking for a large scale like this, you have to include from minus 300 to 100. In such cases, drawing and plotting the points in between will be very difficult. So it is like almost look like minus 300 because minus 273 is almost close to minus 300.
Okay, ma'am.
That's it. But plotting with the actual values and all that thing won't be there. Or basically, you should know the shape. Okay, how does that graph look like? Say, example, we discuss in Boyle's law, the graphical representation. 3 graphs were plotted, right? So you should know the shape. Pressure and 1 by V was a straight line graph because pressure is inversely proportional to V, but pressure is directly proportional to 1 by V. So whenever there is a directly proportional relation, it's like a straight line graph going through origin. This is the representation. So like this, you should know. No need to know, do with the exact values or something. Only this way outline, like how the graph will look, the shape of the graph. And in the other graph, which we discussed in Boyle's law was like this. PV versus P graph, which is a straight line parallel to x-axis. And in the last graph of Boyle's law was pressure and volume. So anything is inversely proportional, it will be a graph with this kind of structure. Wherever you will find an inverse relation and you are plotting those 2 parameters or variables in the graph, then the inverse relation, the graph will look like this. So that basic idea you should know, then it will be easy. You can ask any question, especially in a competitive exams. It can be asked in our exam multiple choice also. You will be given 4 different graphs and you have to find maybe the one which is showing a verification or maybe which is not showing verification, like that. But I have seen these kind of questions in many of the competitive exams. You will find a lot of questions with the graph.
All right, ma'am.
Okay, so that's about different laws, different equation. I have not gone into detail of anything because you don't need it. In your syllabus also, only gas laws are mentioned. That means the statement with the mathematical equation or representation and the numericals based on that. That is what important. So we have to start the numerical part. So can we start the first one? Ready? Or you want to do it tomorrow?
Ma'am, the theory for the whole chapter is done.
No, I have a ideal, this one, real gas and ideal gas behavior, kinetic gas theory, that I have to do. So we'll do one thing then. We'll do the numerical after the completion then, the theory. That will be easy because I think I can finish off that theory part tomorrow. Then we'll do the numericals. And some of the topics have been removed from the syllabus. I think you might be aware of that. The last points and all from this chapter has been removed after rationalization. So only what is important was after the rationalization was gas laws with the numericals, Van der Waals force of attraction and different types of interaction, dipole, all that thing. Hydrogen bonding is there, but as it is removed completely for this particular exam, PT2, I'm not discussing it now, but I will discuss it after that. Okay. But it won't be coming for PT2, hydrogen bonding. Then what we have is the real gas and its deviation from ideal behavior. Liquid state and all that is completely removed because that vapor pressure, all that concept, no, surface tension, that viscosity, density, that part is not there. Only basically gaseous laws were there, and its behavior from ideal gas, real gas, and ideal gas behavior. Okay. With one last point, I'll just wind it for today's lesson. That is ideal gas. What do you mean by an ideal gas? What is an ideal gas? Any idea?
Noble gases maybe.
Yes.
Only noble gases?
Gases
Ma'am,
that are
it's a
stable.
Monroe's law.
Gases with octet formation.
Gas that don't react and in an ideal situation.
Anybody else has got any other opinion or idea on that? Ideal gas. What is an ideal gas? Like, you know, who is an ideal student? Like that, what is an like how you can define an ideal gas?
Ma'am, an ideal gas is
non-existent.
like it follows all the three laws: Boyle's law, Charles' law, and Avogadro's law. So it like follows all of them.
Or you can directly say a gas which follows ideal gas equation, because that is the sum of all the other laws, right? If a gas can follow this ideal gas equation, that means its pressure and volume is equal to number of moles and temperature. And that kind of gases are defined as ideal gas.
Ma'am, all gases are ideal gases.
Actually, in normal condition, no, nothing is ideal. That is what the reality. Some can act as an ideal in certain conditions. So ideal gas is like just like kind of what you can say. It's not real. That's what there are two terms, ideal and real gas. Ideal gas mean the one which follows all, as Yusuf said, all the gas laws, or you can say satisfies ideal gas equation. Ideal gas mean the one which satisfies or follows ideal gas equation. PV is equal to nRT. And if a gas cannot, what you can say, follow the ideal gas equation, it is known as real gas. So ideal gas and real gas, these are the two different terms which you need to know. Ideal gas mean the one which follows all the gas laws or satisfies the ideal gas equation. Then we can call it as ideal gas. If a gas does not follow the ideal gas equation, then we call it as real gas. So my next point, the topic will be like why gases are not behaving ideally all the time. Why in the normal condition, most of the gases cannot follow ideal gas equation or does not follow ideal gas behavior. And why the real gases deviating from ideal behavior. That will be the next point that we'll discuss tomorrow. So just have an idea what is an ideal term, ideal gas and real gas. Ideal mean which is ideally following all the rules, gas rules and everything and satisfying ideal gas equation. Real mean which does not follow all these. It may sometime, but it won't follow all the time in all the condition. That is what real gas. So I'll just wind up here. We'll continue tomorrow.